There you go.
So this is Mr. Pacheco. This
Yep.
is Matthew's father. Okay. So he's just going to be here for about 30 minutes, and he should have fun activities. So turn around. See.
Okay. Okay, so I come from Northern Illinois University. So after you guys are done with heritage, you'll go to middle school, high school, and then you'll go to college. Okay? How many of you guys have heard about the 3 R's? Reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, perfect. Okay. Do you guys know what reduce means by any chance? No? Okay. So I don't know, sometimes your parents might buy you little boxes of cereals, and they come in maybe 10 packages of it. Instead of buying little 10 packs, if they just buy a big pack, you would reduce how much plastic and cardboard you have. Do you guys know what reuse means by any chance? Yes.
Like if you recycle something, they might reuse it and they might like make something out of it.
Yes. That you would refer more to it as recycle. So when you change rubber from your shoes into like tires, which has been known to been produced. Another thing for reuse is sometimes when you have a glass bottle that you use for your tea or any type of drink, you could reuse that as a planter, as a vase for different plants. And then recycle is the one that you said. Do you guys have any other examples of what recycling is? No? Okay. So recycling you could also use as in your paper. Most of the paper nowadays, thankfully, is being more and more recycled. So sometimes if you look at like tissues that you get from McDonald's or Panera, Chipotle, it'll say 50 to 100% recycled. Okay, so I have a little activity for you guys. Okay, so you guys will tell me if it's recyclable or not, okay? Do you think a plastic jug is recyclable? Recyclable? All right, good, good. All right. So now this is a glass vase. Do you think this is recyclable? No, no. Actually, this is recyclable. Most glasses are 100% recyclable, which is good because this could be melted down and turned into something else because glass is made out of sand and other materials.
I know it's made out of sand.
Yeah, grinded up sand. All right. Yeah. All right, ready, guys? Is paper recyclable?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, good job. Okay, this is a tricky one. So these are the cookies I ate coming here. Is this plastic Ziploc bag recyclable? Yes, if it's clean. If it's dirty with food, it's actually not because it could contaminate or make dirty other recyclable materials. So if you ever wanted to recycle something that was dirty by cookie crumbs, you just wash it, dump out the trash, and then you can recycle it. Okay. Plastic water bottle. Recyclable?
Yeah.
Alright, good. This is actually a big factor in the environment because a lot of animals might mistake bottle caps for food and they eat it. And eating plastic is bad, right?
I've choked on one before.
So that's good. Just imagine a bird eating a lot of these plastic things. Do you think that's good or bad for their tummy?
Bad.
Yes. And it leads to birds having troubles digesting or processing food, and it could, if they're lucky, they go to the animal hospitals. Okay, how about this?
Yep.
Okay, so steel and aluminum are recyclable. It's easier to recycle them than to make them all over again. Okay, so this is just an aerosol can to make the room smell nice, like Febreze. Do you think this is recyclable?
Yes.
Actually, it is not. This is a hazard that could infect or pollute the other recyclables, and then those recyclables have to be thrown away. What is recyclable is a cap. This, however, it is not when it's full. there's specific places that take certain hazardous materials like this and process them. Okay, an easy one. Recycle? Yeah, cardboard. Recycle? Alright, good one. Okay, a sock. Recyclable? No? Yes? No? Okay. So in regards to reduce, reuse, recycle, there's certain companies like Goodwill that actually do take in socks. Obviously you need the other pair, otherwise it doesn't make sense. And then they sell it back to you. They're clean and everything works out fine. There's also some companies that actually reuse the textile or the material that this is made out of for other purposes. Okay. Recycle. Okay. So with plastic, how many of you guys touch a plastic product every day? How many times do you think you touch a plastic product? 10 times? 7 times? 5 times? It's actually on a daily basis. Almost everything you touch is made out of a plastic material. I mean, the chairs that you guys are currently on, plastic. Anything you go in contact with the cafeteria, plastic. A lot of the pollution that's coming around in the earth is made out of plastic things. For example, you guys went Halloween trick-or-treating, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys eat candy wrappers and throw them on the ground?
No.
Good, okay? Because that's a type of plastic. That's bad. Yeah, go ahead. That's littering, good. I wish a lot more people, older people, would know about littering. Because, yeah. So the more pollution that comes out of that is actually pretty bad for the environment and for you guys as a whole. Okay, there you go. So what do you think are some ways you guys can reduce at your level? Okay. Oh, okay, that's fine. So in reducing, just make sure that your trash goes where it's supposed to go. Like you guys know that the blue one is for paper only, right? For example, at my school, we have different trash cans for more than just paper. We have one for electronics, so like batteries, printer cartridges, which is what they use to print stuff in color or in black. We have glass recycling, aluminum recycling, plastic, and paper, of course. Also in your area, there's a lot, like in Streamwood, usually around May or April, there's a awareness expo that actually professionals come in with animals. If you guys would want to see, they come in with big hawks and birds, reptiles, all these cool little animals. And they show you all these animals, and recycling is a big thing. People from the state actually come down and teach you about recycling and everything in a more hands-on approach. They let you see everything. Do you guys know what this symbol means by any chance? Yeah. Okay, so let me see if I can. Is it okay if I look?
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to show the symbol. Okay. Do you guys know what this symbol is?
Yeah.
Alright, good. Anytime you see that on plastic, it's good to recycle. Okay? Because all we need to know is more people need to be involved and know what recycling is in order to curb the amount of trash that is outside. I actually went on a cleaning project and we cleaned out a little riverbed, a stream bank, and we found trash up to this high, starting from here to here, and all of it was plastics. We found a couple tires, a construction sign, straws, bottle caps, completely everywhere. And like I said, animals tend to eat these plastics, and it upsets their tummies and can lead to some bad things. Okay, so reduce, reuse, recycle. So, do you guys have any ideas why it's a good thing to recycle from everything I've said? Yes, go ahead. Yes, exactly. Animals, so they don't get tricked into eating plastic materials. Okay, so if there's anything I want you guys to know, it's out of all the facts, when you guys see plastic outside, what's the bad stuff that can come about it? Okay, so so the bad things about plastic outside. Okay, animals can eat it. Anything else that you guys can think of? Okay, sometimes the plastics can get broken up into tiny bits, and it gets into the water system, and then there's this building that processes water and makes it clean. Sometimes those buildings cannot take the little plastic parts out of the water, so little fishes eat those plastic parts, and it hurts their tummies, and then bigger fish eat those fish. So everything the little fish ate is now in the big fish. And then sometimes people like us, your parents, we eat those fish and there's little plastics inside of them. So that's another thing that's actually harming the environment and the foods that we eat. Let's see. Okay. Another thing with recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle, is what part of it do you think is more important? Reducing your use, reusing common everyday objects, or recycling? Recycling? Actually, the strongest and most effective form would be just reducing altogether. Like, I understand you guys are not the primary buyers in this case. Your parents are, okay? So if you could tell your parents, have you guys heard about reduce, reuse, recycle? And they could tell you yes, no, and then you can tell them what it does to animals, or how sometimes humans like yourselves, your parents, can actually eat these plastics by accident, okay? And then, like for example, clothing. You know how sometimes you get too big for your clothing? What happens to your clothing? Do your parents keep it? Do they throw it away in the trash? Do you guys know by any chance?
My dad gives it to my little baby.
That is actually a really good way of reusing your material for someone else's. Because with Matthew, for example, all of his stuff that he's outgrown, we've actually given to his little cousin. And then from his little cousin, it goes on to our other little cousin. So that's actually a very good and effective way of reusing that material, because a lot of energy and water goes into making your clothing. Okay. Is there any idea, another example that you guys can think of? Okay, so for recycling, do you guys think shoes are recyclable? No? Yes? Yes, they are. Actually, the rubber underneath your shoe actually gets torn apart, and that gets melted down and could be turned into, you know how soccer fields?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's little rock pebbles, but they're black, and it's on turf grass. Not grass like outside here, but at special stadiums.
Yeah.
Well, that is actually sometimes used from the rubber of your shoes. It gets melted up, grounded up, and then shifted over to those specific places. The same thing applies to safe public playgrounds. Have you guys been to a playground and noticed that instead of wood chips, it's kind of like soft plastic on the ground? Have you guys noticed that by any chance? Well, that's one of the things that is actually being incorporated now daily. Did you have a question? Or? No? Okay. So that's one of the main uses that it's becoming now. Almost everything you can think of, as long as it's not contaminated or made dirty by something, is recyclable nowadays. Just the fact of getting the word out there and letting people know what is and isn't is recyclable. So just to make sure, is this recyclable?
No.
Okay, good. Do you guys know why, by any chance? Do you guys remember why? Go ahead. Okay.
Because if there's like things inside and it's like that, it goes in the trash and that.
Oh, a little louder.
And that cap, it goes in recycling
Mm-hmm.
because it's a plastic.
Mm-hmm. So why can't this be recycled by any chance?
Because it has like things inside.
Yeah, there's like chemicals or liquids that make everything else dirty. So if this gets onto other papers, those papers are now dirty and they can't be recycled. And that's bad. Okay. So what's the best example to use this for? Reduce, reuse, or recycle? Recycle, but a lot of people nowadays for glass, like this for example was an urn for something, I can't remember what it was for, but now my mom uses it strictly, has a planter and everything. She's actually going to be upset that I took out her plant for this presentation. Okay, do you guys think a pizza box is recyclable?
Yes.
Do you guys think a pizza box with cheese on top, inside of it is recyclable with the cheese? Okay, good. Anything, even if it's not chemicals, if it's food, just like with the cookie bag, not recyclable, okay? When you guys go to the store, if you look at the back of most things, it should have that recycling symbol. So that way you know. Like, depending on whether or not you guys live in apartments or houses, for example, at my house, our recycling container actually tells you what is recyclable. Paper, plastics, and so much more. But if you guys live in apartments, sometimes they don't offer that service. But sometimes if enough parents in that apartment building complain and talk to the landlord, which is the person that owns that apartment complex, they can push them to getting a recycling company to come in and recycle everything up there. Okay. So no littering, right?
No.
Okay, good. Plastics, where do they go? Okay, also some recycling bins will only say only paper. So do not throw plastic bottles or anything. For example, in my old school at Elgin Community College, it would say strictly only paper, okay? And you guys would think that big kids are a little smarter, like they know better, right? And there's people throwing food in there, plastic bottles, and once they do that, that whole entire trash is not recyclable anymore. They have to throw it to the dump. Have you guys heard about the dump or a landfill before? You have? No? Okay, so for the people that haven't, all of your trash that's not recyclable goes to a dump where it stays there for so many years and it's just a bunch of trash. Remember when I was telling you guys about trash that I picked up that was this much? Now imagine instead of this much, it's almost as big as this school and it's just trash. Most of the stuff in that is actually made out of plastics. And the primary reason for this is sometimes people don't know what's recyclable, so they just, whatever, it's just trash. But that's not the case in most times. Second reason for that is, as soon as people contaminate anything recyclable, it gets thrown into the trash because the recycling companies have to sort through things, and as soon as they see a batch is contaminated or made dirty by, it's in the trash already. And one of the field visits that I'm actually doing is to visit one of the garbage dumps in Chicago. And then I'm gonna see, and I'll take pictures, and maybe one day I'll have Matthew come in and just show them around. And it's one of the huge impacts that you guys, not if you guys see it right now, you guys will understand why recycling and reducing and reusing is so important. And it's best to start off at a young age like you guys, where you guys know that littering is bad versus other people that just don't really care. Like on the way here 2 days ago, when I dropped off Matthew, some guy drank his coffee and just threw it out the window. Is that good?
No.
Exactly, it's not good. And then the coffee cup almost hit my car, so I was not happy. Also recycling. Let's see, recycling, reduce, and I think that's about it. Alright. So I want to thank you guys for letting me talk and everything and teach you guys about reduce, reuse, recycles, the good things about it and the bad things that happen when you don't recycle, okay? And if it's okay, I don't know if you do like snack times or anything, but I just brought a bag of candy for you so you could give them out like during anything.
At the end of the day. Thank you.
Alright, thank you.